Well, that wasn't very nice. It was a classic case of I waxed their back and then they waxed mine. And it felt like Steve Carell from the 40-Year-Old Virgin, which was an actual scene, by the way. It was real.
It was my idea, too, so I only leave myself to blame to actually rip my hair out.
He really had his chest hair yanked off and waxed.
Oh, wow!
I was about to feel like that on Tuesday, but the game was in Philly, which means it came with a little Silver Linings playbook up in there. Huh? You see what I did? See what I did? You get movie references. You get also... And by the way, do you people really need to insinuate that I use drugs? How many times do you got to say, man, this guy's stoned every day? Do you hear how weird I am? You think I need anything else to take me to the next plane? This is me, and if you don't believe me, I'll upload some childish clips of me, and people have seen those recently that I've shown. They're like, yep, that's you, all right.
When you get famous someday, I'm going to have this on video.
I know. You actually get the presence of me walking.
This is just what you're getting here. But the silver lining was that the Philadelphia Eagles, they looked like the Philadelphia Eagles that I thought they would look at. You don't end the last year in full turmoil and then not have that show its ugly face once again. And last time, prime time, the silver lining was we got the James Cook 2 touchdowns for our favorite futures bet of the year. This time around, Chiefs -1 wins over the Philadelphia Eagles. Those are the Eagles that I expected to see. They melted down at the end of last season, and they melted down at the end of this game. And all that noise, I mean, the fans, you heard it on the opening drive, they hate this team. One of my friends from Philly, I'll ask Dave about this, but I have a text from my friend who lives in Philly. He goes, there's not a single person I know that likes this Eagles team. So there's just bad vibes around the Eagles right now. Now, what are you talking about? I saw Shane Gillis at the game. He looked like he was enjoying it. Yeah, I'm sure there are, but it's just a text. I'll ask Dave about it. Make sure you check that out. Dave and a Dan on Friday. How do you like that for a little marketing? But before Friday comes... Oh, yes, Thursday. What's on Thursday? Oh, my God. We're figuring out all sorts of things here. Thursday night football. We got the Jets playing the Patriots. And how'd those donkey charts do last week? I'm just happy to hold them up in front of you so you can see. Because I think after a few years, I used to have people screaming, are you dumb? I got to take the Ravens. You're an idiot if you don't take the Ravens. You're going to take Kirk Cousins in prime time? And I'm going to save you the donkey voice this time around because I think you guys are starting to learn. And as you're going to see in this game, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I'm not telling you to take the Patriots because a second part of the donkey charts is you obviously saw the Chargers covered. So it's not like all the underdogs always hit because then that would become the new donkey play. The NFL has mastered totals and sides. I can't reiterate that anymore. So it will be another one of those where people will be tempted. Oh, you see the Jets, they found their footing. Aaron Rodgers throws a couple touchdowns. Defense look pretty good. I mean, they're going to kill the Patriots. Potentially, you wouldn't have thought Lamar struggled with Gardner Minshew and that Kirk Cousins with that torn Achilles getting waxed in Philly back-to-back years in prime time would go lead a game-winning drive. It was like the quickest game-winning drive in like 30 years, I saw some stat. So just be careful with sides, money lines, this, that, and the other, because there is something that stands out to me in this game. You've heard out of my mouth over the last week or so. Give me that total, which has depreciated in value, or it's depreciated in price. It's appreciated in sniff value. And that's all these receivers, the Chris Olaves, the Drake London, who cleared his opening line, but not his closing line. If that's a little tale you can be taught about the value of opening lines versus closing lines. Same thing with Dallas Goedert. Hit his opening line, didn't hit his closing line. So just something to sniff about. But the value play receivers, Flowers, Olave, Andrews, all those guys, even London, had a good game. Now on the Patriots, this isn't really an offense where you're going to trust a quarterback. I mean, this is Jacoby Brissett. It's amazing to me that Jacoby Brissett, it's like 7 years now. He has a job. It's hard to explain. He shows up at your franchise, and he's going to be the starter for the year because of something. I mean, 6 years ago, he had to start a full year. Andrew Luck had a weird. All right, I'm showing up. Well, what'd you do? You signed Deshaun Watson, but he can't play this year? All right, I'm showing up. You drafted Drake May, but you don't think he's ready? All right, I'm showing up. You just get a guaranteed mediocre year, and then he goes on to the next village to do it again. It's like an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger. Chalker, Texas Ranger, Jacoby Brissett. But Jacoby Brissett is the quarterback, so we'll be weary of all receiving totals. But then again, with the state of quarterback play in this league, Jacoby Brissett might be like the 18th best quarterback now, but his de facto number one receiver, and that's what we say on teams where we don't know what the hell's going on, is Demario Douglas. He was their best receiver last year. All the reports stated that he was their best receiver coming into this year. And all of the video, the tail of the tape, shows he's been getting open at will these first 2 weeks. They haven't been getting him the ball. But another silver linings playbook was that the head coach and the offensive coordinator have both said, we need to get him the ball this week, or we need to get him more involved with the offense. So what total would you be happy to clear for a number one receiver in terms of who was projected to have the most yards on the team? What would you be okay with in a game where there's 6-point underdogs, 7-point underdogs? Well, whatever you're thinking, it's definitely less than that. 19.5, 20.5 receiving yards for Demario Douglas. This is one I just have to take, especially when you consider the fact that he's not a traditional outside receiver. He's not an X receiver. That's exactly what we want for this game. We don't want Sauce Gardner on him, so run from the slot, get a couple dinky routes over the middle in a game where they should theoretically be trailing. This is a fantastic play. This is one that I'd be happy to say if it was on the Sunday slate, I would be all over it. So give me the over 19 or 20.5 receiving yards for Demario Douglas. And because it's so low, the alts, every 5 yards you go, you're deeper in the plus money. So give me a couple more yards on that. And outside of that, there are two more plays that I like in this one. Aaron Rodgers, always been a very careful and meticulous thrower of the football. In fact, even if you go back and look at the tail of the tape in Tennessee, there were a couple shots he could have taken, but in a close game, he chose not to. He chose to be more on the conservative side. He had an interception week 1. They were trailing by a lot, so he forced the ball into Garrett Wilson, and it was a great deflection, popped up, got picked. This is a guy who does not throw many interceptions. In a game where they're probably not going to have to throw a ton, if you think they're going to be leading, I think the under half of an interception for Aaron Rodgers against a team who, they played 2 very good games when you think about what was expected from the Patriots this year. Played good defense, definitely in the first game, not as much in the second game. But they don't have a pick to their name. So Aaron Rodgers at home in a game they should be leading, and he won't have to throw a ton. I'll take the under half of an interception for Aaron Rodgers. And then another one that I like is the under on 16.5 rushing attempts for Breece Hall. There are a couple different reasons to like this one. Number one, he didn't clear that number in either week 1 or week 2. And week 1, he was the unquestioned workhorse, got every carry, every catch. He was out there for everything, and he still didn't clear 16.5. Last week, he had 14. But what's more important than that is the backup running back, Braylon Allen, had a breakout performance. So he earned himself more touches. So you got 3 days rest. You got a backup running back who came out flying. So he's earned his touches in this game. Plenty of reasons to like the under 16.5 rushing attempts for Breece Hall. And then it ain't a true video unless I give you guys a Pirate Parlay. And the first one I'm going to go with is the under half of an interception for Aaron Rodgers. And then I'm going to combine that with the alt over on receiving for Demario Douglas. That will get you into plus 500 territory, and you don't even have to add that many yards. And then also a second one that I'm doing is the alt under on rushing attempts for Breece Hall. Under 19.5 rushing attempts for Breece Hall. And then a slight bump on Demario Douglas. You know who can kind of tank my night, old Demario, but I'm going to stand behind this guy. I watched him play last year. he's getting open even this year with the coordinator saying what he said, or the coach, Jerome Mayo. I believe he's going to find a way to get some yards in this game. He doesn't need that many. You're talking about 20 receiving yards just to kind of hit his over, 21, 22. My guess is by game time, it will be hammered up to like 25. But if you put it in right away after you see this, you'll probably get some good value. Along with these last couple days, I thought I was a genius coming up with the idea of those secondary props. When I'm looking for a guy, when I'm looking for the Braylon Allen alt rushing, because I think he's going to get all of the rushes in the second half, I want to know when that's out so I can take it right away before people hop on it. And it exists. It exists, and it's in the very app that I've been using that also has the first thing that I called for last season. I've been telling people left and right, your average person, I try to help. Like I told Josh when he was on, I'm not a part of this industry, but when I come across people like Dave, Josh, whatever, I try to tell them, look, your average person, they love getting good prices on things. Mark my words. But do you want to know what they would really, really, really like? The majority of people have a skull with the bones behind it and the sword. They're pirates. They don't care about the absolute best price on the rushing attempts for Breece Hall. But do you want to know what they do care about? The price of their Pirate Parlays. The Parlay odds calculator is one of the great features, along with the notifications that you could set for anything you want, for any player, for any prop, even if you just want to know when any new alt reception props come out. You can use Outlier for that. And I got to admit, you don't hear me talk about stuff a lot because you know me. I do a scam of the week on my comedy show. I think everything's a scam. Everyone's trying to scam you. I've been using this since baseball. I've given it like the couple months test. The people on the Patreon know this. It's got good shit on there. So I reached out to them. I said, look, I really do like this stuff. So they gave me a link. I'm going to put that down below. Don't feel like you have to. I don't care if you want to get it or not. If you think that I'm just trying to push this, this is what I always tell people. When you're dead and when I'm dead, ask for the video. Ask if I'm using that at night. That's what I'm using. And I'm willing, I don't know how we can work this out. I'm willing to place a bet that when we're dead, I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but we risk years in hell if I'm lying. But if you call me out, you challenge if I'm lying or not, now you have to spend a couple of years in hell. Not eternity, but you're getting 30 years. The 30 years in hell sentence. I think that's a good time to end the show. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. You guys know, donuts, bagels, muffins. Like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Rajon Rondo, the fourth member of the Big Three, is click the notifications. And I only tell you that, not because I'm trying to gimmick the... Actually, I would gimmick the algorithm if I knew. I will not take the time to learn all the gimmicky tricks, like coming up with a thumbnail where it looks like, people just found out that World War III broke out because somebody's inactive for a game or something like that. But the notifications are probably wise of you to click because this one's coming out during the day. Sometimes they've come out 2 a.m. I don't know when I have time to film the things, so it would behoove you to click the notifications. But you want to know what would be even better than that, better than all the stuff that I said. You can be a proud owner of this show. You can be a minority owner. This isn't sponsored by Kit Kat. I would love to be sponsored by one thing, just one. I don't want I'm not going to look like these KHL jerseys with stuff all over it, like, this, that, and the other photography companies you've never heard of. I like Kit Kat bars. I like Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. I want one of them to call me and say, look, I want this to be brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. And that's your free advertising for the day. But I want something I could stand behind. But until then, you guys, the Patreon members, are the owners of this show. Unless I sold the show and then you get a grand total of nothing. But you guys make all this stuff happen. I'm always very appreciative. You can join over there, patreon.com/Andy Francess. Not, no worries. I will see you for the next video. A Dave and a Dan on Friday. Looking forward to it. I hope to see you then. Take it easy.